My anxious feet traipsed through the trees towards the pond ahead, the crisp sounds of fall mingled with the jabbering of teenagers as we all headed in the same direction. In front of me, my father led the group toward the afternoon's undertaking. Behind me, about 20 14-year-olds trudged through the woods, notebooks dangling from their fingers and excitement lighting their eyes. Near the school's campus was a serene frog pond framed by the surrounding forest. Once we reached the pond, my father's booming voice directed the students to gather near him. There was a small frog perched valiantly on the bank of the pond. He tenderly picked it up and held it out for each student to see. I, being the young child I was, clung to his side and watched in awe as he began to beautifully describe the frog with immense detail. Then he put the frog down and had the students closely watch it as it hopped back into the water and swam to a nearby hiding place. The students' assignment that day was to observe the habitat of the pond and write a journal entry about the details they observed. He explained that the words we choose to describe things paint a picture for us to remember later. He asked them to be specific so that they could reimagine the habitat and its occupants when they learned about them later that week. After his instructions, he let the students disperse and they ambled off to explore the pond and to find the prime location for penning their journal. As I watched, I was confused about why we were out in the woods instead of in his classroom. It was tradition for me to come to work with him once a year when I was young. Work for my dad was as a high school biology teacher, but he continually claimed that it never really felt like work because he had the greatest job in the world. "Daddy, I thought you worked in a classroom," my small voice questioned aloud as I watched him interact with the inquisitive learners. Noticing the confusion sketched across my face, he chuckled and motioned toward the woods and the pond and replied with fond sincerity, "Annalise, this is the best kind of classroom." This memory will always hold such profound importance to me. I can remember this conversation with such clarity because it ultimately shaped who I am and how I view the world. It illustrates the idea that the world we live in and the things we learn through experiencing it is the greatest classroom in action. This perception has been the lens coloring my outlook on education, especially as I am crafting my personal studies to aid me in teaching in my own classroom someday soon. This past semester has really challenged and stretched my identity as a future educator. It has also reinforced many of my beliefs about education and about why I am choosing to pursue this career. One idea that I have been intentionally pursuing this semester is that, as the previous story demonstrated, we can learn so much by exploring and pouring from the world around us. That includes people. There is so much value and wisdom to be found in slowing down and investing in conversations and relationships with those you come into contact with. I have learned so much about how important it is to be a guardian of your profession from Professor Black. I was deeply impacted by Anthony Lamer's story and how it takes just one teacher to reach out and make the difference, be that big or small, in a student's life. I also have learned so much from my peers about how every colleague and student brings a lifetime worth of ideas, experience, and knowledge to the table, and that should not be ignored. Ultimately, through this semester, I have grown to see the act of teaching as my purpose. According to Daniel Pink, that means the richest experiences in our lives aren't when we're clamoring for validation from others, but when we're listening to our own voice, doing something that matters, doing it well, and doing it in the service of a cause larger than ourselves. One person who exemplifies this idea of purpose in their teaching practice is my mother. She has created a classroom environment that comforts, connects to, guides, and challenges her students. I have also been able to take much of what I have learned this past semester and translate it to practical application in her classroom. This poster acknowledges the diverse ways that students write. The skills that we as educators teach our students will be used beyond the classroom and in everyday life. In my mom's classroom, there are countless tools and resources for her students, such as the colorful word wall and the reading strategies board. Although her students are only in 2nd grade, she gives them the ability to learn for themselves by providing them with the resources and tools they need, and then encouraging and empowering them to use them on their own when they are writing and reading. She incorporates games and activities into instruction. This can be helpful for student engagement as well as a way to scaffold learners who are struggling in a specific area. When learners are engaged, excited, and immersed in what they are learning, It is sure to stick with them in a much more meaningful way. Her students always know what is expected of them and what the goal is for their learning. She makes sure to write out their learning targets each day for each subject, but it also allows students to take charge over their own learning because they know what the expectation is. This semester, I've also realized the importance of technology and the role that it can play on the classroom climate.
Hi, Mom and Dad. This is Seesaw, and this shows you the cool stuff we do at school.
There are iPads in the classroom that, with permission, students can take pictures, videos, and send messages of their work and activities to their families, so that parents and guardians can be connected and informed about what is going on in the classroom. Another area of teaching that we have talked quite a bit about this semester is curriculum and standards versus the teacher's expertise in planning. What I have seen my mom do is take the issued curriculum and standards that she has been given and apply them using strategies, lessons, and activities that she has researched and that correlate with the given standards. One thing that I admire most about her classroom and teaching is that she surrounds her students with books. My mom has gone above and beyond, investing her own time and money into her classroom library. She also gives and encourages choice to her students. Each student can read what books they want and how many they want, and she cultivates a love of reading among many of her students because of this. She connects reading and pleasure to her students. Thomas Newkirk would definitely support this good idea. It is my hope that I would be able to continue taking these ideas, tools, and thoughts that I have learned throughout this semester and continue to apply them to my own teaching practice, as I am quickly approaching student teaching and graduation. I hope that my future students will see my passion and heart for English and for stories, as well as for them. The most important idea that will continue with me past this semester is that it is important to love what you do and show love to those who you are doing it for.